All right, gear up and roll on. Motorcycle maker Ducati still riding the pandemic highs, with demand still strong despite supply chain hiccups and consumer belt tightening. The performance-focused brand delivering sport innovations and newer engines, but how will their bikes hold up as e-bikes rise and market opportunities open up? Joining us now with more is Jason Chinnock, Ducati North America CEO, and Yahoo Finance's Pras Subramanian. Pras, I've never been more jealous of you than at this time. I'm looking at these spectacular bikes here. So I want to talk about the design choice, starting with the new V4 engine in the 2023 Diavel model. Tell us more about this, Jason.
So Jason, Rochelle was asking about the new bikes we have right here, the Diavel V4, as well as the Multistrada V4. New bikes for you guys. What's customer reaction been like?
It's been incredible. In fact, the Diavel itself, the new V4, is an evolution of our design that we originally launched when we brought the Diavel out in 2010. It's a very unique model in the entire motorcycle lineup in the world, because it's this idea that we took a blend of a sport bike, a naked sport bike, and mixed it with a cruiser, which gives it this very muscular feel and appearance, but of course the performance you expect from a Ducati. So we've seen, while the bike hasn't actually been delivered in the market, we've seen customer order portfolio, which is basically how we predict our sales, been exceptional for this motorcycle. In fact, by far the best launch that we've had for a new model out of the Diavel lineup. And then for the Multistrada V4 Rally, this is a continuation of the Multistrada V4, which has been historically one of our top-selling motorcycles. And the idea behind the Rally is really to give the person who's the owner of this motorcycle an opportunity to go on and to travel the world. And as we've experienced a little bit in the post-pandemic life, people want to get out and ride. This is the bike that you can hop on, put your aluminum panniers, your passenger, and go have that adventure of a lifetime.
You know, so 2023 looking pretty strong with these two new bikes. 2022 is a record-setting year for you guys. What sort of powered that growth, and do you kind of see these trends happening this year as well?
I think a lot of it has to do with that post-pandemic effect that we've experienced, because people obviously were doing quite well financially and found themselves in a situation of like, I want to reward myself, I want to live life. And when they're going to do that, when they're going to seize it, they're doing it with a motorcycle. And when they make that decision for a motorcycle, they pick Ducati. We're at the top of the food chain, if you will, in the motorcycling community. But so our sales momentum has been very strong, both all over globally, but also in North America. And we delivered an exceptional result this last year. Unfortunately, behind Italy, we were number 2 globally, which is something that, you know, we're ready for the battle this year to be number 1. But it also, I think, was fueled by a lot of the enthusiasm for what we're doing in racing. I mean, this is the first time ever last year where we won the MotoGP Series Championship and World Superbike, and both of our riders in 23 are running with the number 1 plate all year long. And, you know, our Ducatisti, our clientele, they are enthusiasts about what we do racing-wise. So I think all of those things mixed together with the great product and just the market demand has been very positive.
So I want to get into racing in a little bit, but just we did note that there was some potential component issues, shortages. Did that sort of affect sales in the U.S., or was it kind of a non-issue?
Oh, I wish it was a non-issue, Pras. I mean, like, what ended up happening is we had 2 specific components early last year that slowed down our production. And we had a lot of bikes, what we call work in production. That basically means the entire motorcycle is there, assembled, waiting for one part. Mm-hmm. And that just slowed down for the first half of our year. What was incredible, though, is once that supply chain caught up, the momentum was right there. And we closed out last year, the second half of the year, with our best half year ever. And the great news is that momentum that we've built up is continuing. You know, there's always a risk if you make somebody wait too long that they just decide to not buy. But with the demand of our product and the fact that we keep evolving, we keep bringing out so many new models, we haven't seen a slowdown at all.
Yeah, even on the kind of these bikes are not cheap. So that buyer is still sort of hungry for these higher priced bikes?
Absolutely. In fact, what's the one thing when we look at the motorcycle market as a whole, you know, there's a lot of obviously concerns about what's happening in the economy right now. But the reality is at our price point being that ultra premium, we haven't really seen an impact with our clientele.
So real quick, I want to talk about racing real quick. You mentioned that doing well this year in MotoGP, but in Moto E, I believe, right? Is that what they're calling the electric racing series that you guys are going to be the single make manufacturer for?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about that. That's going to happen this year, but we're eventually going to see some of these potentially electric bikes coming in the future. Are customers excited about that future?
Yeah, in fact, this is there's a lot of people have been asking us about our electrification strategy. And before we jump into the racing part of it, really our objective is not necessarily to check the box to build an electric motorcycle. It is, what can we do to reduce our carbon footprint as a brand? And electrification is one of those methods. We have other options as well, but that's one of the methods that actually seems to be the most predominant right now. And what we saw is, how are we going to do this? We're going to deliver an experience that people expect from a Ducati, to do that at the highest level. And the highest level for us is racing. That's part of our DNA as a brand. And so we are the sole supplier of the Moto E series, as you mentioned, and we just finished the production of all the Moto E bikes that will actually start the race series next year. And our objective is to take the technology of what we learn from this series at that level and find a way to distill it down to what we can bring to, let's say, our client level. And we have a lot of excitement behind it. Unfortunately, the race series won't come to North America until hopefully next year. But we're encouraging and driving that because, it's very exciting to see this evolve in racing.
I want to see these e-motorcycles on Daytona next year, hopefully. So, Jason Chinnock, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, Pras.
Back over to you, Rochelle.
All right, thanks so much. Yahoo Finance's Pras Subramanian there with Jason Chinnock, Ducati North America's CEO. Thank you both.